Quran, Quran, Quran.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen, amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. My dear respected viewers of Madani Channel, we once again welcome you in our program, Background of Quranic Revelations. In this program, we select one particular ayah of Quran and we discuss its background, sabab of nuzul, reason of its revelation, and the message it contains. To be with us from start to end, you'll be learning a lot, insha'Allah Azza wa Jal. But before we proceed towards our topic of the day, let's make a few good intentions. My Shaykh Tariqat, Amir of Ahl Sunnah, Hazrat Allama Maulana Muhammad Ilyas Attar Qadri, Damat Barakatuhum Al-Aliyah, has given us a beautiful mindset. We should make good intentions before we perform any permissible task or any good deed. As I am presenting this program, I make this intention, I will present this program for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can make this intention, you will watch from start to end, you'll remember what you learn, act upon, and pass this knowledge on to others too. It's always a good idea to invite people towards righteousness. Ask your family members to come sit in front of Madani Channel's TV screen and watch this program, which is very short and brief, just maybe 15 minutes or so. But inshallah, in terms of knowledge, you will be learning a lot. Respected viewers, today our topic is spending wealth in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and spending it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with ikhlas. Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned in the Holy Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah 262.
الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله ثم لا يتبعون ما أنفقوا منا ولا أذى لهم أجرهم عند ربهم ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون.
Translation from Kanzul Iman. Those who spend their wealth in the path of Allah, and after spending they do not boast of their favor nor taunt. Their reward is with their Lord. They shall have no fear, nor shall they grieve. Subhanallah. Respected viewers, in this beautiful verse of Quran, attribute quality of those who spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they do not mention their favor once they have done. If they have helped the needy, if they have given their wealth to someone for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to earn reward from the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but they do not boast of their favors, nor they taunt. This is the quality of those they spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allahu Akbar, their reward is with their Lord Azza wa Jal. This is also mentioned. What will happen on the Day of Judgment? They will have no fear, nor shall they grieve. This is the reward what they will attain, and this is the quality which has been mentioned, who spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this ayah of Quran was revealed for Sayyidina Uthmani Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala an, and Hazrat Abdurrahman bin Auf radiyallahu ta'ala an. Hazrat Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala an, who had given in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the occasion of Ghazwa Tabuk. And he radiyallahu ta'ala an had donated in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 1,000 loaded camels. Allahu Akbar. And Hazrat Abdurrahman bin Auf radiyallahu ta'ala an had given sadaqah of 4,000 darahim and presented in the court of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wassalam, and said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, I had total 8,000 dirham, and out of which I have presented half, and I have kept half for my ahl, for my family, and presented half in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam said, whatever you gave and whatever you kept, may Allah put barakah in both. Subhanallah. This was the dua given to Sayyidina Abdul Rahman bin Auf radiyallahu ta'ala an. Hence, in Sunan Tirmizi it is mentioned, Sayyidina Abdul Rahman bin Khabbab radiyallahu ta'ala an narrates that I was present in the court of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam was encouraging Sahaba Kiram alayhim ridwan for Jaish-e-Usra, meaning Ghazwa Tabuk, Battle of Tabuk. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam was giving instruction for the preparations and encouraging Sahaba Kiram alayhim ridwan. Sayyidina Uthman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala an stood and he announced his pledge. He said, I take the responsibility of 100 loaded camels. Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam again encouraged the Sahaba Kiram to give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sayyidina Uthman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala an stood second time and said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, I'll present 200 loaded camels. I take this responsibility. Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam again encouraged Sahaba Kiram, companions alayhim ridwan. Then Sayyidina Uthman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala and said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam, I will present 300 loaded camels. I take this responsibility. The narrator, he says that Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alihi wasallam, when he heard this, he came down from Mimbar in Munawwar and said twice, Allahu Akbar, from today, whatever Uthman radiyallahu ta'ala does, he will not be held accountable. Subhanallah. This was said by Rasulullah alayhi salatu wa taslim. Respected viewers of Madani Channel, people also make pledges and they want to give and they make intentions. However, when the time comes to deliver the money to give, hand over as per their commitment, they find it extremely difficult to follow through. Some do not even give the amount actually they had committed. See the generosity of Sayyidina Uthman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala an, who donated more than what he radiyallahu ta'ala an had announced. Allahu Akbar. Commentating on the above mentioned hadith, Hakim al-Ummat, Hazrat Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Naimi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi has stated, bear in mind that this was only his announcement, but when the time of delivering came, he radiyallahu ta'ala an gave 950 camels, 50 horses and 1,000 ashrafis, gold coins. Later on, he radiyallahu ta'ala an donated another 10,000 ashrafis. Mufti Ahmad Yar Khan Naimi rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi has further stated, note that he radiyallahu ta'ala an initially committed 100, then 200 and then 300, which totals up to 600 camels in all. But when it came to give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he gave 950 camels and 50 horses plus 1,000 ashrafis. Later, 10,000 more. Allahu Akbar. This is the generosity of Sayyidina Uthman Ghani radiyallahu ta'ala an. Allahu Akbar. This was the jazba and passion of Sahaba. Whatever they used to pledge, commit for, they used to give more. And this is the lesson what we learn. Whenever it comes to giving the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should not hold back. We should spend as much as possible. And if we help someone, then we should not boast favor. We should not mention our favors upon them. We should not taunt them that I had helped you so and so time when you were in need. I helped you. No, this is not good. When you spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you should do it alone for the sake of Allah and for the pleasure of Allah. Not to boast your favor upon others or to mention your favors again and again. And to taunt others. Respected was another important point what we learn, that hurting one's feeling or boasting of favors, it is also forbidden and najais, impermissible. Especially when someone gives a sadaqah to someone, helps him, then he starts boasting of favors and hurts that person's feeling. This is not permissible. It is also mentioned in another verse of the Holy Quran, 264, Surah Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said,
يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى.
Meaning, O believers, do not invalidate your charity by boasting of favors and by causing anguish. So this invalidates the reward, sadaqah, which you give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sadaqah becomes batil if someone does this. So if you give, you should give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should not hurt someone's feelings by mentioning to others that we had done favors to this person and we have helped that person and he was not capable of doing anything and he was very much poor and we were the one who helped. These things will hurt one's feelings, especially the one who you have given sadaqah. So this is not permissible, it is not good, and this invalidates the reward and it invalidates sadaqat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq that we follow the footsteps of Sahaba Karam, we become generous, we give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wholeheartedly. Ramadan al-Kareem is the month to give more and more in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should remember those that are in need. They also want to do better Eid, they also want to spend better Ramadan. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, we should spend as much as possible, we should give as much as possible. It is the mal given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has given us this ability to spend in His path. On top of that, He gives us reward. This is not our wealth, it is wealth of Allah who has given us. And then it is ability from Allah, and then subhanallah, reward is also from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But remember, once you spend in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you give in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you help someone, so do not hurt their feelings. This is a beautiful message of the day, and that we learned that those who spend their wealth in the path of Allah, and after spending they do not boast of their favors, no taunt, their reward is with their Lord. They shall have no fear, nor shall they grieve. Inshallah. That's all for today. We'll be back with another beautiful episode, with another beautiful topic. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.